So guys, by the end of today, you have a really good understanding of different types of ad tracking spreadsheets, which ones you want to utilize for yourself, all the different upgrades that you can do to an ad tracking spreadsheet, and detailed examples so that you can go away and set one up for yourself. I'm also going to include a free download if you want to download a very, very simple spreadsheet so that you can go and add this in yourself. I'm going to include a link down below for you to download this. What's going on, gang? It's your boy, Jerry the Ad Wizard, coming back at you with a brand new video. And today we're going to be looking at something that I get asked, have been asked, and do get asked a lot, which is about ad data tracking. Okay, so if you are putting a spreadsheet together of the results that you have achieved in your ads or you're looking to achieve in your ads, you better make sure that you have an ad tracking metrics spreadsheet so that you can keep track of the data and that you can present that data back to the client to tell the client what you have achieved with your ad. So guys, grab your coffees and grab your hats. It's time to spin up some ad magic. Hey guys, so I'm going to show you a number of different ad tracking spreadsheets that we've currently got going on for our clients. What I would say as a caveat to all of this is the fact not every ad tracking spreadsheet is the same. This is very dependent on what you are looking to achieve or what your client is looking to achieve. Get centered around the KPIs that your client thinks is useful and that you think is going to drive value to the bottom line of your business. Okay, it's very important that you're tracking all of the data that comes into your ads so you can optimize, make sure that you're always hitting those KPIs. Okay, you want to make sure that you have an ad tracking spreadsheet that you fill in either once a day or once a week. How vigorous should you be doing your ad tracking? If you have a big campaign where you're spending quite a lot, track it every single day. Go in there and look at your data, add it to the spreadsheet, track, see how the data is changing day by day. Okay, if it's a slower burn campaign and it's a long-term campaign, then just monitor on a weekly basis. Okay, different tracking ad spreadsheets depending on the wishes and wants and the desires of the campaign, the objective, and the business needs. Here is a very simple spreading. As you can see, this is a really, really basic ad tracking spreadsheet, okay? And I want to explain this and go through each sheet and then show you other example ad tracking spreadsheets to give you an idea of how you should be setting up your ad tracking spreadsheet, okay? The first tab is a KPIs tab, okay? What is the most important data points for the client to understand? Yes, it's important for us to monitor click-through rate, cost per click, all those nice things, but for the client, they don't care, okay? They want to know how much have we spent, what is the cost per acquisition, and how many results have we achieved? Pretty much most of the time, right? They're the baseline kind of figures that the client wants to know and wants to entrust you to be looking at the granular data, which we can add into the additional sections of this, okay? So this is a daily tracking spreadsheet. So for a larger campaign, we have this first sheet set up for the client, okay? The client ever wants to go in and see a general overview of what's going on. This is the sheet that they will look at. But then if you go to the side here, we have very granular data. We're tracking this every single day. We have total ad spend, right? Within this, we are looking at the conversions that we've had, the cost per acquisition or the cost per conversion, looking at how many sales that has guaranteed us, and then looking at the back end, what is the true CPA? E.g., within this particular example, people are buying tickets. For one conversion, they're buying multiple tickets. So what is the true CPA of that one ticket, right? So we've got this in here as well as an additional field. So we have these exact metrics for total. That's Meta and Google. On this one, we have then the breakdown of Meta, okay? Here we are looking at additional metrics as well, the link clicks, the click-through rate that we've got, the conversion rates, the leads, the tickets that we've sold, the true CPA, and then top performing campaigns and top performing assets. Okay. And then the same thing for Google as well. Here we're looking at impressions, clicks, click-through rate, conversions, cost per acquisition, the true CPA, and the ticket CPA, conversion rate, top performing creatives, and any notes that we might have on a day-by-day basis to keep track of the things that are changing. Okay. So if anything happens, if suddenly conversion tracking breaks or something happens there, then we can keep track of all the things that are going on day by day. We have another sheet here, which isn't being used currently for best performing content. Again, we might have that here in its own column versus its own sheet. This is another sheet that isn't necessarily on all ad tracking spreadsheets, but again, to get organized around what your projections are, what you're planning on spending, how you're dishing out those distribution budgets across the different platforms. Okay, here we have a spreadsheet, a self-calculating spreadsheet that says, okay, well, if we want to spend 70% of our budget on Meta and 30% of our budget on Google, what does that correlate to? How many different campaigns are we running? How does the budget get split? You might want to have this budget distribution sheet in there as well, so that you can tell client exactly how much you're spending, what platform you're spending on, which campaigns you're spending on, and be very, very organized around what you're planning on spending and what you are spending. That's not always necessary, but in this particular ad tracking spreadsheet, we have it in there. Okay, this, guys, is also a very, very simple ad tracking spreadsheet. Here we are looking at the main KPIs that we're looking at. are webinar results. So within this particular client, we are doing a lot of webinars and we are using ads to run those webinars. So it's important for us to track the data, the sheets, to monitor the data and the results that we're getting from each webinar. Okay, so we need to make sure that we're constantly looking at that data. Here we have each webinar has its own column, and there we're looking at the click-through rate. Typically, as a rule of thumb, click-through rate equals how appealing is that ad to a person that has seen that ad and how much has it made them respond. Okay, so click-through rate is a good indicator of how good your ad actually is in terms of clickability, right? So look at your click-through rate, it starts coming down, or we see something is off with the click-through rate. We can analyze this and say, okay, is there ad fatigue that's set in? Does the hook not work very well? Is it not very appealing to that particular target market? What is it around this ad that is not making the click-through rate high? So that's a good indication for you as an ad manager to look and see if your ads are working, look at the click-through rate and understand the click-through rate, because the click-through rate tells you answers. Okay, guys. So as a very basic, obviously here we have the different webinars that we have 1, 2, and 3. And then we have a more granular breakdown, which says exactly how many leads have we achieved? What are all the different granular data around this? What is the CPA? What is the best performing meta assets? What's the best performing Google assets? How much have we spent? How much have we achieved? What are all the impressions? All those kind of nice things. Okay. And watch this data, guys. Watch this data. This will be a good indicator as to what you should be looking at in your ads. Should you be changing up your ads? Should you be optimizing them more? Again, like I said, feel me down in a comment down below if you'd like to see the benchmarks of success for ads, because that'll also give you an indication. I think you could probably upgrade these spreadsheets and say, and using conditional formatting, for example, you could say, right, if this click-through rate goes below 5% or below 3%, or there's another benchmark there, then you can create an automatic rule in conditional formatting that basically will highlight that cell red, right? That means, hey, there is a problem here. Look at this piece of data. What can we do about it? Additional things can be added into these ad tracking spreadsheets. I'm not saying that these are the be all and end all at all. You can definitely optimize and adjust these depending on your client needs, wants, and wishes. And like I said, you can actually upgrade these with additional conditional formatting rules so that you can read the data as well as you input it every single day. So that's just an extra little tip. Okay, so guys, this is a lot more vigorous. Okay, we're looking at here. We're looking and measuring. We have a dashboard sheet as the first sheet. Okay, here we're tracking the results from a quarter to quarter basis. You know, how is the data changing from quarter to quarter? Okay, how are the revenue numbers looking? How are the lead numbers looking? So that we can track it on a high level macro view. Okay, what are the monthly targets? What are the yearly targets? All those kind of nice things as a dashboard. This gives us an understanding. Okay, here we're also tracking social media followings just to ensure that the social media strategy is aligned with what we're trying to achieve. And then we have consultations, and then cost per consultation is the main objective that the business is looking to achieve to get leads and to get growth for their business. Okay. And then under the growth metrics sheet, we have a growth metrics sheet here as well. And here on a weekly basis, we're going in and adding in the results for the social media. Here we have TikTok views, we have the number of posts, we have Instagram likes, number of posts, YouTube views, number of posts, ad spend, how much we're spending on each of these things, okay? And again, week by week, we're going in and we're adding this data so we can track, so we can tell the client, we can see the trends, okay? It's dipping a little bit, then it's increasing a little bit, right? We can create graphs, we can create pivot tables in order for us to present this data, in order for us to read the data to understand what's going on fully. We also have a team actions sheet here, which I won't go into, but that's just action steps. If you want to consolidate all the action steps into one centralized place, you could probably do this in a tracking spreadsheet. Paid leads, won't go into this because of sensitive information, but this is using Zapier. When somebody enters in their lead details on the website, on form, right, our spreadsheet here, all the leads go into this spreadsheet so that somebody, the sales coordinator, can go in and chat to leads, build up the relationship, and all of the lead data is there. And that's a kind of, in its own way, its own CRM system that allows us to track the leads, allows us to centralize all of the notes, etc. So really, really simple CRM system with a spreadsheet. Hit me down in a comment down below if you want to know how that works. Then we have an economic sheet, which is more the cost even, the break-even points of the business. Again, there's kind of sensitive information in there, so I won't look into that too much. And then here we have the September leads, August leads, July leads. So we have all the leads then spread into its own sheet. But guys, before we go anywhere else and you're new here, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe. Make sure you hit that notification bell so you never miss any more important updates. We are here many times a week to help business owners, entrepreneurs, and digital marketeers get the best from their online ads, paid media, and digital marketing strategies. But without further ado, let's get on with the video. This is really, really detailed ad tracking spreadsheet, okay? Not only is this looking at the ad data, it is looking at it every single day, okay? We have the monthly results, the totals, and then we have the day-by-day results, okay? Again, what are the most important things to that business? This is an e-com business. Shopify orders is very important to that business. What is the value of those sales? Very important to that business. Okay, so track these things, write these down on a daily basis onto the spreadsheet. Okay, we're going into Shopify here to extract that data. Okay, we're not looking at conversional values from the ad manager at this point. Is that you never want to just look at the ad manager, the data there, as the source of truth. If you are selling stuff on a website, if you have leads coming into a website, look into the website and what leads are being submitted, and don't look at that conversional figure on the Meta Ad Manager or on the Google Ad Manager, because those figures can be a bit off, and we want to be as exact as possible. So making sure that you look at the end result. How many ticket sales have you had? How many things have you sold through your e-commerce website? How many leads have you got through your lead generation website? So look at the end results and don't always rely on the conversion figures that Meta is presenting to you. But we can get a good taste and we can get a good gist of those conversion figures if you report on those Meta conversion figures. I'd just say to be the most accurate, look at the sales that you've obviously had through your website, look at the leads that have obviously come in, and then match those to the conversion figures that you're seeing in your Meta Ad Manager. If they're somewhat the same, then you know that it's quite accurate. But if there's a little bit off, maybe 10, 20, 5% difference, then, take the conversion figures that are presented in the Facebook or the Meta Ad Manager or the Google Ad Manager with a pinch of salt. I'd also say the Google Ad Manager also has attribution issues. So you won't always see the data straight away. You might see a data from a few days ago populate after a few days in the Google Ad Manager. So that's just an important caveat because we need to bear that in mind. Okay, guys. So here I'm looking at the big, ginormous megalith spreadsheet. In here, we have the average order value, a blended CPA, right? This is CPA across all different marketing channels. This is a really big spreadsheet because it's not only tracking ad results, but it's tracking marketing results and marketing spend and additional promotion tactics as well. So blended CPA across all marketing tactics. What does that look like? Marketing efficiency ratio. How efficient is your marketing spend across all marketing tactics, across your whole marketing mix? Look at MER. What is that percentage? What does it look like? And then we've got the total spend across Facebook, how many conversions are we in? What's the cost per acquisition? Google, again, same thing. What are we spending? What's the conversions? What's the CPA? Customers, how many, looking into the website, how many customers has the website had? All these things, right? Are we promoting on Amazon? Have you got email subscribers? This is a really big tracking spreadsheet that tracks all of those things. And then finally, we've got acquisition data here as well. One-time revenue, are they one-time purchases? Are they repeat purchases? Are they from subscriptions, purchases, all those kind of things? And then here at the end, we actually have even additional we have even additional expenses around partner ad spend, agency expenses. Do we have direct mail campaigns? Do we need to pay creative developer teams? Do we have partnerships? And do we have affiliates, right? All of this comes in to the totals towards the end. All of this works in together so that we can see what is the sales and what is the spend that we have gotten to get there in order for us to understand the true CPA, the true marketing efficiency ratio, and the true average order value for your sales. Okay, so this is another example, guys. This is just one massive giant spreadsheet, and we're filling this in day by day and then coming in week by week. But that is a big ad tracking spreadsheet that I think is also super powerful. Right, so guys, I'm going to include a link to this. This is my fifth and final example tracking spreadsheet. This is the one that I will attach to this video. If you want to download it, click the link down below. Basically, this will give you a really, really simple ad tracking spreadsheet that you can go in and fill in yourself. Okay, I caveat this, like I've said, all of these ad tracking spreadsheets are very individualized and personalized to the objectives and to the client of which they are made for. Depending on your client's wishes and needs, definitely tailor these. Don't just take the one that I'm presenting here, download it and just use it, tailor it, add adjustments in there depending on what the client wants to see. This will give you a good starting point. If you want to download this and just optimize, play around with some settings, this will give you a good baseline in order to do that. I include a link down to that for you guys as well, so you can go and download that and adjust it for yourself. Okay, so to just round up again, like I said, there are kind of two different tracking spreadsheets. I think for an ad manager, you want to go really granular. For client facing, you want to give the high level, top down, the most important high level results. Okay, and they're the things that you really want to comment on and adjust on. Are you going to be reporting on a weekly or a daily basis? How much are you spending? How vigorous does your reporting need to be? That's another consideration factor. And the final thing is look at the true CPA. Look at the end result where your ads are driving traffic. Go into the website to see how many sales it's actually generated versus the conversions it's reporting. Go into the calendar booking system to see how many appointments were actually booked versus relying on the ad manager data that it's presenting. Again, these things could be taken with a bit of salt. You might find that they're very well aligned, but you might find that they're not quite correlated. Maybe they're 5, 10, 15, 20% out of what you see in the results. So that's a good indication point for you to take the ad data that you see in the ad manager with a grain of salt. Like I said, daily reporting with Meta and Google can be a little bit interesting with the attribution issues because the data doesn't always get reported straight away, particularly in Google. Sometimes the delay of attribution can kind of come in and you might see results from 2 days ago only entering the ad manager today or a couple of days afterwards. So that's very important to bear in mind if you're tracking everything on a daily basis, that sometimes the results might change from the day before yesterday because of the attribution issue that I discussed. So if you're doing daily data tracking, check back on some previous dates to see how much that data is moving. You might find that it doesn't move that much. You might find actually we're getting a lot more conversions. When I look back, well, we're getting more conversions now that attribution time has kind of come through and the data has been passed back into our ad managers. So that's fine. We can work with it and understand and use it and know how to harmonize with it. So guys, hopefully that was useful to you. Like I said, you can download this particular spreadsheet down below in the link. Hopefully that gives you a good understanding and good taste for different ad tracking spreadsheets, how you can put them together, and some of the key things that you should be looking for, how you present that data to client, and what's important for them as a client, and how are you driving value to the business and the business growth. It's really important that we stay attuned to what's going on. We look at the data. We use data to inform our decisions, okay? Really important, guys. So ad tracking spreadsheet, super important. And that's it for today, ad gang. Hopefully that was useful to you. Hopefully you got some value and you understand now what makes a good ad tracking spreadsheet, what you need to do to create one yourself. And like I said, I've got a link down below if you want to download a very basic ad tracking spreadsheet for yourself so that you can go and present your data to the client so that they know what you've achieved with your ads. Hit me down a comment down below if you've got any questions, if you've got any suggestions on topics that you would like me to cover next. I'm Jerry the Ad Wizard. You can catch me at Jerry Ad Wizard on Instagram, at Jerry Griffiths on LinkedIn, and at Jerry Dreadlocks everywhere else. If you want to watch a video to understand your ad profitability, be able to put in projections so that you know how much you need to spend in your ads to hit the targets or the projections that you want to achieve, click this link up here. And if nothing else and you made it this far, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe. I'm Jerry the Ad Wizard, and wherever you are in the world, I bid you peace, love, and a wonderful rest of your day. And as always, I will catch you in the next one.